I'm in Toronto, and I'm at O Noir, which is a restaurant where you eat completely in the dark. So I have no idea exactly how that works. Are there knife and fork? If I set my fork down, do I have to then find it? I assume that it's all about accentuating the tastes. When you take away some of your senses, or one of your senses, it'll accentuate the taste, the flavor. So I'm excited to see if that is actually the case and how it's actually going to work. It's a set meal, series of courses, and each one comes, I don't know what it is, I put it in my mouth and figure it out. It's going to be an adventure, so let's figure it out. Down in the depths of darkness, O Noir style. Come inside, come inside.
Just emerged from the darkness of the restaurant, and it's very dim in here, and yet my eyes are completely having a difficult time, and it hurts a little. It was a crazy experience.
So I just got back from O Noir, and it was an incredible experience. First of all, when they say in the dark, they mean in the dark. This is completely devoid of light, which means your eyes never adjust. There is no light anywhere. So you can keep your eyes wide open and it is completely pitch black, which does some weird things. You kind of start thinking that you see streaks of light or a light source here or there. So that is one odd sensation. And then of course you are served food. But before you even do that, your server, your waiter, brings you into the room. Now the interesting thing about O Noir is all of the waiters that work inside the seating area are actually blind, which makes perfect sense because they're working in the dark. No one is better suited for that. So you're introduced to this waiter who then asks you to put your hand on his shoulder and guides you into the room and sits you down. And he's constantly telling you, well, something is on your left, your fork is on your right, here comes the food, now be careful, turn to your left, I'm going to hand it to you. So you're constantly being guided through this experience by a blind server. And of course there's immediately a sense of understanding about what it must be like for that person every single day, which is an interesting educational experience. But the whole dining experience is remarkable. I never knew if I was cutting something or stabbing something with my fork correctly. I never knew when my plate was full or empty, where different things on my plate were. So I ended up having to use my fingers a lot to make sure stuff was still on my plate or I was guiding to the right place. Not only that, but the menu, which you select from before you even enter the room, had secret special items on there that are surprises. And I elected to have my surprise appetizer, surprise entree, and surprise dessert. So I didn't even know what I was getting until it arrived, which adds another level of crazy because you get a plate handed to you, you set it down, and all of a sudden you have no idea, should I be cutting this? Should I be stabbing blindly at something on that plate and putting it into my mouth? I often lifted something to my mouth only to realize it was slightly larger than I needed it to be to fit into my face. Delicious food, and of course the sensations are heightened. It's true. The appetizer that I had ended up being some sort of salad with grilled vegetables. So the salad was cold and the grilled vegetables were warm, so each bite I never knew if it was going to be warm or cold in my mouth, and that was an interesting surprise. Identifying what the grilled vegetables were. Some were mushrooms, some were zucchini, I think. There was tomatoes, and of course lettuce. So each new bite I was identifying as I was tasting. It was a remarkable experience. Then the main course ended up being some sort of chicken mushroom dish with sauce. It was all very good and an adventure as I was discovering what I was eating. And even more than that, the experience of sitting at a table where you can't be distracted by things around you. You can't see something. You can't pick up your cell phone and turn it on and not be connected to the person you're sitting with. All you have is the conversation, which was amazing because it was so much more intimate. And I'm in a room with, I don't know, 20 other people, and you hear conversations happening around you, but yet you feel so isolated because the darkness envelops you and the other person that you're sitting with, that all you have is this connection. And I couldn't help but wonder what it must be like having some sort of even blind date there. Obviously puts the blind in blind date. But, or having a large group, if you're there with a birthday party, for example, and having people spread out and conversations happening where no one can see each other. And it really makes it a completely unique experience, and one I highly recommend. If you have an O Noir near you, or you're in a city at some point where there is one, I highly recommend the experience. It is really nothing like any other dining experience I've ever had. It is quite unique. So, really fun, and highly recommend it.